cheering? Who likes cheering? Give me a show of cheers. Yes, okay, well, let's stop this. Please welcome to the stage Hannah Jones. Give us a cheer.
A socially acceptable way of getting around, but it should be. It's amazing. It's faster than just walking with a pram, and it's easier than unicycling normally because you've got something to hold on to. It's just weird, but for me it's a bit of a compromise because I'm such a cyclist that I found that transition from cyclist to pram pusher a difficult one. And they say you never forget how to ride a bike, but there's sometimes that you need to forget, and that's when you're not riding a bike. It's nothing more stupid looking than a woman pushing the pram in the middle of a road, signalling right. I've got two pet hates with prams. The first is, sorry, I'm quite out of breath from that. The first is, when you're pushing it along and you've got a group of friends that don't have kids and they've got their little bag or their little cardigan that they want to put on your pram. And I'm like, no, I pushed that baby out, I'm pushing him around now. I'm the one that has to deal with the monotony of motherhood. The one perk is that I don't have to carry my own bag. If your genitals are still intact, carry your own bag. The other pet hate I've got is when you walk along in the winter and a car will come past and splash you with icy cold water and you're just like, ugh. Then you remember you're wearing mittens. So hello, thank you all for coming. I'm Hannah, I'm 32, I'm married to Dan. Wherever he is. We've got two boys. We've got Percy, who's nearly 4, and we've got Eric, who is 16 months. And I hope tonight's show will be like having a little catch-up, sort of chin-wag with an old friend, except quite a mouthy friend who doesn't allow much two-way interaction. Hands up if you pictured someone when I said that. Yeah. If you haven't seen much comedy before, comedy is like loud, mouthy, arrogant theatre. Like, hey guys, I'm putting on this play. I'm the actor, I'm the director. The character I've chosen to play is the character of myself. I didn't bother with a set, I didn't really bother with costumes, haven't learned the words really properly. And in case you're wondering, there's no interval. My only hope is that I'll be slightly funnier than your loud, annoying, mouthy friend. So we're going to start this story where most stories end. Most stories, you know, like fairy tales and like romantic films, they end with the couple in love. Like maybe on their wedding day, or maybe like the woman is pregnant. Something like that. They don't end halfway through potty training your second child, do they? So yes, back in the day, me and Dan met. Back in the day when we had beautiful skin and endless energy. We fell in love, got married, and then I got pregnant. And that's where the real story begins. So, I had a lot of comments made to me when I was pregnant. Pregnancy is like an excuse for just random people to just start talking to you for really no reason. And what they say is normally quite predictable. It's normally like, oh, when are you due? Or like, they'll come up with some like nonsense science predicting whether it's a boy or a girl. And normally 50% of them are right. This one man in Aldi just looked at me one day and just went, "You're big." And his wife was like, "Roger!" He was quite obese himself, though, or as I like to call it, morbidly jolly. So at that time, I worked in a primary school, and the kids used to say comments to me all the time, and their comments were a lot less predictable. So I've managed to compile a list of my 5 top pregnancy comments from the children. Would you like to hear them? Yeah. Good, I'm glad you said that. So, in 5th place, is there 2 babies in there or 3? In 4th place, do you know you need a man to make a baby? I was like, well, yes, I am married. And they said, well, we've never seen your husband. In 3rd place, when you have a baby, either you have to show all your root bits or have it cut out of you. Which one are you going to do? In 2nd place, a little reception kid came up to me and said, what's that in there? I said, a baby. And he said, oh, I thought it was a ball. And in 1st place, my favourite pregnancy comment was, if it's a boy, call it Steven Gerrard. If it's a girl, throw it in the bin. Thanks, kids. There's a lot of things you're not allowed to do when you're pregnant. So there's the obvious ones like drinking and smoking. But then there's some quite obscure ones, isn't there? So like you're not allowed to eat the runny bit of an egg. You're not allowed to go in a hot tub. You're not allowed to eat swordfish. That one, so hard. I don't know how I got through 9 months about swordfish. And then genuinely this one said, you're not allowed to eat unpasteurised cheese, like the nice, basically the good cheeses. You can't eat them. I was invited to a cheese and wine party when I was pregnant. How insensitive is that? All I could have was dry crackers. But no, I don't take the cheese rule that seriously, because have you ever met anyone and like they've got like a disability or a problem or something, and you say, oh, how did that come about? And they said, oh, my mum ate cheese when I was in the womb. It's not a thing, is it, cheese disabled? No, I think we're all fine. So when I was pregnant, I got a letter from the Women's Hospital inviting me to a breastfeeding workshop. They said, please bring a doll or a teddy. And at that time, my house was not filled with dolls or teddies. So I had to improvise. Let me show you some of the options I came up with. I've got this rubber duck that I thought maybe, but it's a bit small, isn't it? Maybe this is more the right size, isn't it? Could be fine. Then I remembered I do have a cuddly toy. I'm not going to look weird at all. I don't want to alienate the men here with all this talk of breastfeeding, so I've come up with a male analogy. If you could wee out cold beer, you would, wouldn't you? You'd get over yourself and pour yourself a pint. So ladies, by the way, that's the end of the male-centric comedy. If you want to see more male comedy, just go to any other comedy night. Let me cheer you up with some happy pregnancy facts, like you can't get fluff in your belly button. It's not a receptacle once you're pregnant. You don't have to worry about accidentally getting pregnant. That's a good one. You can commit minor crimes and get away with them. So when I was pregnant, I was driving in a bus lane in Runcorn. It was by accident. I got pulled over by the... Is that funny? Runcorn. I got pulled over by the police. They opened the doors and they went, "Oh, did you get confused?" Do you think they would have said that to me if I was a black man? Yes. So, oh yeah, and the other nice thing is, you know when you get that nice feeling of kicking, it's lovely. I just wanted to sort of share that with people, and so I drove like over 100 miles to where my mum lived, and I gave her a good kicking. Turned out she was not impressed. I was like, why? I love it when my baby kicks me. So yeah, towards the end of the pregnancy, there's things that you can do to hurry it along a bit. One of them is to eat a curry. But I always wonder, how do women in India ever make it to full term? Like, they must be just popping out babies all over the place. The time came for me to give birth. And I was induced with Percy, so I knew when it was going to be. So I thought, I'll get myself ready, down there. So I tried to do my bikini line. It turns out it's really hard to do your bikini line when you're 9 months pregnant. I ended up with a bit of a diagonal Brazilian, which was not the look I was going for. So anyway, I went in, and at the time they were filming One Born Every Minute in the women's, and we knew about this months ago, and we said no, we don't want to be involved, it's weird. I went in, I was like a few hours into being induced, I was like off my face on drugs. It was like 3 in the morning, and they came in to the room and they were like, "Do you want to be on One Born Every Minute?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure!" So that's true. So they filmed the birth, and then I got a phone call a few months later saying, "Hi, it's Suzanne here from One Born Every Minute. Just to let you know, thanks for being involved with the project, but we're not going to use your footage on One Born Every Minute." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine. Can I ask why?" She said, "I'm not allowed to tell you why." I said, "Is it because of my diagonal Brazilian? Because it's very hard to do your bikini line when you're 9 months pregnant." As a new mum and an art graduate, I wanted to make a beautiful room for my child, so I did like this hungry caterpillar theme. I did the chest of drawers, had all these fruits on it, then I did like this canvas of the sun, and then I did these like applique curtains with like the moon, and the first page it's got the egg on the leaf. It was like really pretty. Then I read that newborn babies can't see in colour, and they don't give a shit about applique. I received lots of cards when I had my baby. Most of them said, "It's a boy." And I was like, "I know that." I told you that, actually. In fact, you don't know, you haven't seen. You're just taking my word for it. So I've come up with my own little range of cards. You told me you had a boy, so I got you this card to say, "It's a boy." Congratulations, you had sex roughly 9 months ago. It's a hermaphrodite. That awkward moment when it's not a boy or a girl. Then I just went off on one inventing cards. I hope you don't mind. Happy Pancake Day. May the Lord bless you for following his commands to eat pancakes. Coming up soon, happy celebration of the hanging of an attempted terrorist. Bonfire night. congratulations on your vasectomy. The next one is a card that I genuinely tried to buy a card that would say this kind of thing, but it was difficult to find. Sorry you witnessed a murder outside the house I rent to you. Please continue to pay the rent though. And this final one is a card that I feel that I need to receive, that I'm owed. Sorry I used your toothbrush to clean my moon cup. Thanks. So, a few days into having the baby, I realised that babies are evil. They don't want you to sleep, they want you to be a gently swaying human mattress forever. So after a few days I was in this kind of zombie-like state, and my friend came round to bring me some food, and I saw that she had these shopping bags with her, and she had in the shopping bags some shampoo and conditioner, and I was like, oh, we haven't showered all week, oh, did we shower? Oh, you're such a good friend. Oh. And my friend was like, oh, those are just some stuff that I picked up for me. And I was like, oh yeah, no, that was a joke, I'm a comedian. Of course I've showered. About 3 months in, I discovered children's centres, and these are great places that you can go, and they put on loads of free stuff that you can go to with your kid. It's quite samey though. On Mondays I sing Old MacDonald Has a Farm in a library. On Tuesdays I sing Old MacDonald Has a Farm in like a church hall with some toys. On Wednesdays I sing Old MacDonald Has a Farm in a swimming pool. You get the picture. And I wonder, why is it so important to teach the kids the sounds of animals? Do you think they could survive to adulthood if they didn't know that a cow went moo? I also wonder, why are there no songs about arable farms? You know, like, oh, MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O, and on that farm he had some wheat, E-I-E-I-O, with a yeah. Oh, look, there's Theresa May. I wonder if you could get to being an adult and not know that a cow goes moo, because I feel like there's more important things to learn, like don't lick plug sockets and don't dive headfirst off sofas. So one of the few things you can go to as a mum with quite a small baby is baby massage. It's a bit dull, you just kind of go along and you stroke your baby with the oil. But the woman who was leading my class claimed that she had 12 years experience in baby massage. And each of the different strokes had a different name. So I was doing the weeping armadillo on the left arm, moved over to doing it on the right arm, and she was like, no, stop. I didn't say move on yet. You are overstimulating your baby. Anyway, we scraped to pass, and Percy got this certificate. Baby Percy has attended a course in infant massage. This experience has been a good start in life and an investment in the future. It's nice because if he never achieves anything from now on, at least he can put this on his UCAS form. If I was to rewrite this certificate, I would say, well done, babies. You lay there when a bored, sleep-deprived mum put some oil on you. If you could have, rolled over and crawled away, you would have done, but you didn't, because once you're able to do that, you're not allowed to come to baby massage. One thing stood out to me on the Children's Centre timetable, and that was maths with free creche. Now, I don't love maths, and I don't particularly need to brush up on my math skills, but free crash. There's days in the middle of potty training when you're like, I would love to sit in a quiet room and do some algebra. There's very few ways to get out of looking after your child for free. But there are some, and I will share with you my knowledge. There's maths for free crash. There's church. You might get an hour's worth of free childcare, but you do have to listen to a sermon. But the best one, I think, is IKEA. Okay. So if you've got a 3 to 8 year old, you can get 45 minutes of free childcare in their little soft play thing while you look around the shop. But they don't police the looking around the shop bit. So you can just go to the cafe. If you've got an IKEA family card, you can get free hot drinks. But why not take it one step further? Why not go and get yourself a nice hot cocoa and then make your way upstairs to the bed department for a 45-minute snooze? I find that mums are most annoying when combined with the internet. You know those internet forums where the answer to every question is either go and see a GP, Google it, or just don't worry, it'll be fine. I got added to this group called Mummy Share. Is anyone here in Mummy Share? Is anyone here the admin? Because the admin did give me this slightly threatening message saying, I hope you're saying nice things. Are you the actual admin from Mummy Share?
No.
Okay. Stop me. Okay. Right. We're told to be nice. If I was to rename the group Mummy Share, I'd call it Mummies Try to Make This Kind of Prehistoric Civilization That Lives Without Money work and fail. So, I don't know if you know, but money was invented in 3000 BC because swapping things is actually quite impractical. And if you want to do a swap and you don't have the exact thing that that person wants, money is like a handy token to help that transaction take place. Mummy Share is a reminder to all why swapping is silly. Let me read you some genuine things that people have asked to swap on Mummy Share. Are these going to be yours? Okay. I didn't pick too many from the same person because I thought that would be rude. So they shouldn't be all yet. My curtains are a bit too short. I'd like to swap for the same ones but longer. I have a quirky cupboard. I'd like to swap for guinea pig food. So, was that you? Oh, no. You're really bad. A watch and teddy gift set swaps for lettuce, cucumber, spring onions and potatoes. And my favourite, a man's shirt swaps for a can of light squirty cream and strawberries. I'm glad you're laughing because that was like a whole evening of scrolling through boring ones to find these gems. But no, like, can you imagine after a hard day's work, you know, mumming, that you just sit down to this nice pudding of strawberries and light squirty cream, and then you think, oh, do you know what I want more than that? A man's shirt. If only there was a forum. So the mummies are realising, only 5,000 years after everyone else, that swapping is silly. And a new currency has arisen, and that is baby wipes. People say, oh, I've got a jumperoo, or something with 12 packets of baby wipes. I now just judge everything in its price in baby wipes. Like, this nice fancy camera you've got there, how much did that cost in baby wipes? Tell me in pounds. Whoa! 2,000 packets of baby wipes! That's a lot. Baby wipes. Yeah, guess which celebrity is worth 1.4 billion packets of baby wipes? If it helps, good guess, but no. If it helps, it's 89.6 billion individual wipes, based on 64 wipes to the packet, which is the regular standard amount. It's J.K. Rowling. Can't believe you didn't get that. So J.K. Rowling is the #1 best-selling children's author in the UK, and in pounds she's worth 700 million. But I think fair play to her, because she sort of made her money later in life. She was a single mum. She sort of meticulously planned out all the stories before even the first one was published. So well done. I hope she enjoys her money. But 700 million is a lot. If you think you could live on less than that, if you think you could live on 57 million, you're going to kick yourself for not thinking of this idea and being the UK's 4th most best-selling children's author. Let me read you some literature from Fiona Watt. That's not my bunny. Its paws are too rough. That's not my bunny. Its tail is too woolly. That's not my bunny. Its eyes are too shiny. That's not my bunny. Its nose is too wrinkled. That's my bunny. Its ears are so soft. Aww. She's written 50 of these books. That's not my owl, that's not my pirate, that's not my unicorn. It's like she's just discovered Microsoft Word's find and replace button and gone mental. And you might be thinking, okay, it's simple, it's for babies, but it's the concepts, it's the textures, the illustrations. She's not the illustrator. A different woman, Rachel Wells, is the illustrator. How annoyed must she be that she didn't think of the words? Can you imagine her coming into work every morning oh, I just hope I've got enough money to feed my family. And Fiona Watt's stop your moaning and keep sticking that cotton wool on Bunny Rabbit's tails, bitch. I actually had to buy this book to make this point, which was a bit sad. And I didn't want to buy it from a real shop because I didn't want her to be worth 57 million and £5.99. So I bought it from Amazon, used books, and they described the condition of this book as good, which means there may be notes in the margins, but the original text is still legible. If you're making notes in the margin of this book, you are doing way more work than the author. An author I do like, though, is Julia Donaldson. She's most famous for The Gruffalo, but she's written loads of lovely stories. My favourite is The Snail and the Whale. Does anyone know that one? It's a lovely story about a snail that goes on this trip around the world on the tail of a whale. And they go on these adventures together, but then one day the whale gets beached and the snail has to run for help. Except snails can't run. All they can do is make slime on dark surfaces. Let me read you a bit. This is the board as black as soot, and this is a snail with an itchy foot. A snail, the teacher turns pale. Look, say the children, it's leaving a trail. Just as an aside, what teacher, have we got any teachers in? If a snail climbed onto the blackboard in your class, distracted the whole class, would you leave it on there long enough that it could write 3 words? I don't think Ofsted would approve of that. Anyway, this is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail saying, "Save the whale." And that is why I'm against interactive whiteboards in classrooms. They're all very fancy, I'm sure they do some lovely stuff, but how are snails meant to get their emergency messages across if we don't have blackboards?
Yeah, I do like Julia Donaldson, but she is a bit of a racist against Northerners. She writes rhymes that only work for Southerners. Okay, she tries to rhyme scarf with giraffe. She tries to rhyme can't with plant. And I always get to this dilemma every time I get to that bit of the book. Should I stay true to myself, my own accent, or should I change it to make it rhyme? And I know she's doing that on purpose, to mess with my head. I imagine she's just down there, and she's just like a massive Tory. She's like, "Those Northerners, they are not worthy of my literature. They do not contribute enough to the economy to deserve rhyme."
So, just to annoy her, I had another baby. That's going to be a Scouser in a few short years. Yes, it's time for another birth story. You didn't think you would get away with just one, did you? And this one is a bit more gruesome than the last one. So with Percy's birth, I didn't feel like I pushed him out. I felt like he was pulled out of me against my will. So going into Eric's birth, I thought, I'm going to go for the most drugs option. I know some people like to be natural, but you know what's really unnatural? Not wanting to run away from the worst pain in the world. Everything's unnatural, really, isn't it? Like driving a car, eating prepackaged food. If we were going to go natural right now, I'd stop using the mic, we'd turn the lights off, we'd all take our clothes off and bin our phones. Does anyone want that? No. So we're happy to live unnaturally. Good. I was in labour at home, I was having contractions, and I realised that I needed a poo. But I thought I shouldn't risk pushing anything out now when I'm just at home. I'll just save that poo for later. I'll just do that after I've had the baby, that'll be fine. Turns out it doesn't work like that. So I went into hospital and I was like, "Give me an epidural." They said, "Oh, well, you're doing so well." I was like, "Yeah, but this is not the worst bit. It's going to get worse. And then you're going to tell me it's too late for an epidural." That's exactly what happened. So there's quite a backlog of things that needed to come out. There was 4 things. There was my waters, which didn't break till the last minute. That popped and went all over my sock. Then that poo. I pooed into a midwife's hand. She wiped my bum for me. Thanks, NHS. Then the main event, the baby. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, that was good. That was good. Yeah, just like that. And then the placenta. Placentas are funny things, aren't they? Because if on a normal day, something like this big, like a big meaty jelly, just like flopped out of you, it'd be a big deal, wouldn't it? It'd be like the most significant. It'd be the most significant thing that happened that week. But yeah, after having a baby, you're just like, oh, cool. Anyway, it was all worth it in the end because I finally got to claim my free cup of tea and slice of toast. So if you're feeling a bit peckish right now, why not conceive a baby? It's only a 9-month wait, which is like the same as most other things on the NHS. But no, seriously, the NHS is amazing. And what I want to do is, if you work for the NHS, or you've ever worked for the NHS, can you stand up now or give you a clap? Go on, Casey, go on. There's some more. You're not the only one. No, seriously, I really appreciate it. Thank you. I do really appreciate it. 70 years of saving lives and wiping asses. There's only one way to make being a mum of a newborn seem easy, and that's to be a second-time mum. And then you look at those first-time mums and you're like, what are you moaning about? They just nap all the time. I find that it's hard to make small talk with a first-time mum when you're a second-time mum. Like, they'll say, oh, what's your baby eating? I'm like, whatever crap they find on the floor. They say, oh, is your baby saying any words yet? I'm like, yeah, he says pepper. And they're like, oh, that's so cute. Does he love his veggies? No, Peppa Pig. I found breastfeeding tough, but it gave me a fresh appreciation for cows. At least I chose to breastfeed to benefit my own species. Imagine you're just sitting on a sofa breastfeeding, and a cow comes in, takes your baby, makes it into burgers, then gets a breast pump, puts it on you, just starts expressing you, and then takes your milk and feeds it to its calf. You'd be a bit miffed, wouldn't you? I found it hard coming off breastfeeding. I decided I wanted to stop when my baby was about 1, definitely before he could talk, because I once went to the library with a friend, and her kid just went, boobies, 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 until she fed him. Yeah, but I found it really hard. Like, I would have rather he was addicted to like crack or something, and I could just send him to rehab. It was really hard. We had to invent our own kind of rehab where he stayed with my husband and I slept on a boat so that I didn't hear the screams. I'm in this group called Bambies, which is like a Facebook breastfeeding group, and people do a post on there when they've like stopped breastfeeding, and they'll normally say like, oh, we've come to the end of our breastfeeding journey, I'm so proud of ourselves. Like, fair enough, it is hard, well done. If I was to do an honest end of breastfeeding post, it would go something like this. I'm free, I'm free, I'm finally free from the shackles of breastfeeding. Whoop! No longer will I be the one that has to get up in the night every single time. No longer will I have to wear hideous nursing bras. I can leave my house at any time of day or night I like, providing there's a responsible adult there to look after my child. Because I'm free! Whoop! Farewell, big leaky boobs. I will happily embrace the shriveled remains of my breasts, because I'm free. I went out to get myself some new bras. How I see it now is that my boobs have retired. They've done their job, they've attracted a mate, they've nourished 2 children, and now they're heading south for their retirement. And I wanted to get them a comfortable retirement home. So I went to the shop, I picked out this bra, went to pay for it. It turns out it was actually a post-surgery bra. And I could fill in this little form to claim back the VAT, because it definitely wasn't a luxury item. Don't want to go on a big feminist rant here, but do you have to have had surgery to earn yourself a comfortable bra? Why can't all bras be comfortable, just like men's underwear? You don't get the Wonder Wang squeezes your package into an attractive thing, do you? No. No. I was a bit sad. I came home from my shopping trip and I said to my husband, it is a shame because I liked my boobs 10 years ago. And I know he meant this as a compliment. He was really trying to be encouraging, but he said, I liked your boobs 5 years ago. Thanks, babe. So, obviously, before you take away the milk, you've got to introduce food, and that process is called weaning. Now, there's two main methods. There's letting your baby smear orange and green slime all over themselves, or letting them throw big chunks of stuff on the floor. You must pick one camp and passionately hate the people who picked the other camp. So, Team Spooner are like, well, if you want to feed Cedric a kumquat to choke on, then fine, feed chunks. And Team Chunky are like, if the Lord had intended us to eat with a spoon, he would have given us spoons for hands. It is an unnatural abomination. So we did a bit of both. We did, when we were doing the spoon feeding, we did, you know what loads of parents do that, like, meow, it's an aeroplane, open wide. All fun and games around the dinner table, but a few months after that, we went to an airport. We're off on our holidays, and we were just getting our passports checked, and we just turned our eyes away from Eric for a second, and he was gone. We were like, where's he gone? Where's he gone? We were looking around, and then we saw out of this big window the main runway. He was on the runway. The 747 was just coming right towards him, and he was there just like, ah, because we've taught him to eat aeroplanes. There's a lot of pressure on parents to feed your kids the best organic food, and my husband is a vegetarian, and he says if you're going to eat meat, if you're going to buy meat, at least buy, you know, the good, proper organic stuff. You know, that's come from a happy cow. I think, why kill the happy ones? Why not kill the miserable cows that have never seen sunlight? They probably want to die. You'd be doing them a favour. Thanks. So, as a mum, I get to do lots of exciting things like feeding the ducks. Because for some reason that's not a responsibility that's shared equally among all society, is it? You don't get young professionals out on their lunch break off to feed the ducks with a latte. No, for some reason the burden of keeping our nation's ducks alive falls on the shoulders of toddlers. And we've decided what they want to eat as well, and it's not fish or whatever ducks naturally eat. It's bread. It's stale crusts of bread thrown to them by toddlers is what ducks really want. But you can rest assured that if you grew up feeding the ducks, you're probably a very nice, well-rounded, tax-paying member of society. You probably aspire to have hanging baskets. Whereas if you grew up feeding the pigeons, you probably live with your nan in a bus stop.
So it's nice now that Percy's a bit older, he goes to nursery, and they do loads of lovely activities. Every year they have Pirate Day, where they teach all the lessons through piratey things. So they come in the morning, the classroom is transformed with Somalian flags. They pick two affluent white kids, lock them into the cupboard, the other kids black up. Then begins literacy. They start writing their ransom notes. then there's all the back and forth business negotiations, like if the money's not coming in quick enough, maybe you need to chop off an ear and send it. And then the money comes in, they make their Excel spreadsheets, make some graphs, and the whole thing is a massive fundraiser. I think last year they raised like £300,000, and it all went to children in need.
No, it's nice now Fez is a bit older, he's developing a bit more of a character, and he's got very good self-esteem. His favourite person in the world is himself. He likes everyone in the world apart from one boy at nursery. He especially likes the bin men, and he always asks, when can they come round for tea? Why can't they come round for tea? He likes to come out with hard-hitting facts, especially around the dinner table. So last Christmas we were all sitting around, and he just went with like no context whatsoever. He goes, "Grandpa, when you get old, then you die." And that is true, and maybe we all need to be reminded of that fact. I know that his self-esteem is not based on anything that comes from the media, because he says things like, "I want to have the biggest body in the world and no head." He asks a lot of questions, things like, would a panda attack a lion? Where is heaven? When we die, will our house die too? How do penguins cry? And the most difficult one today, do ice creams don't like snow? I don't even know how to go about answering that question. Sometimes the best bit of my day is when I'm driving, both kids fall asleep in the car, I manage to do 2 successful transfers and have a cup of tea in peace. And I think, if that's the best bit of my day, why did I even have children? But then I think back to this time when, before he was born, I was quite pregnant with him. I went to the Edinburgh Festival, and I was sitting around with some comedians, including you, and everyone was a bit down, because it was like 3rd weekend and stuff, and I was like, okay guys, none of us are going to make it. Let's just accept that, and let's start putting all our resources into my unborn child and make him the biggest comedy genius the world has ever seen. And 4 years on, we're starting to see a bit of the fruit of that. So he's written his first joke. I wish he was here to tell it, but he's in bed. It is, what do you call a pig with no legs? A lying down pig! Thanks. That is almost all I've got time for, apart from I'm going to pick on someone and dedicate a song to them. So I'm going to try and pick on someone I don't know who has kids. Looking at this row. I'm going to pick you. Do you have kids?
Yes.
Great. This will work. How old are your kids?
6, 4, and 1.
6, 4, and 1. You've gone for more than the traditional 2. Well done. Good work. Great. So I'm going to ask you a bit of a personal question now. How many times would you say in your life you've been in love?
3.
3 times. It's the 3 children from... I wish I didn't ask that now. Sorry. That is fine. I'm happy for you. Great. Okay. That wasn't meant to be that. Next question. Why did I say that? How many times have you been up in the night with a teething child? Roughly.
Approximately 24,028,000 432.
Okay, so quite a lot. Great. This is going to work then, because I've noticed there's a lot of songs about love and being in love, aren't there? And there's not that many songs about being up at night with a teething child, is there? So I've written one, and that is going to be the finale. And now, I'm not very musical, so I'm going to invite my sister up, who is musical, to help me out with this. This is Sarah. Hey.
Hey.
How's the moon cup? Cool. I can't. Right. You just need to like get some stuff ready, but you can play. 2 minutes.
Is this microphone
Baby, you had a pain. I knew this would start again. Take a look at this magazine, an article on teething pain. Baby, 'cause in the night you chew your fingers tight, and that's why I need some help. I don't want you to yell, because when your gums hurt, it's not forever. We'll go to the pharmacy together. This gel will get you on the mend. We're gonna use the treatment till the end. Now that it's hurting more than ever, know that I'll be a lovely mother. I will buy you a tube of Angela. I will buy you a tube of Angela. Ella, Ella, hey, hey, hey. You a tube of Angela. Ella, Ella, hey, hey, hey. Baby, these cries and screams, we've never come in between. You were part of my family, now until eternity. When you took the job, I to fall. Anytime your gums are sore, they are to your door. Because when your gums hurt, it's not forever. Go to the pharmacy together. This gel will get you on the mend. We're gonna use the treatment till the end. Now that it's hurting more than ever, know that I'll be a lovely mother. I will buy you a tube of Angela. I will buy you a tube of Angela. Ella, Ella, hey, hey, hey. You a tube of Angela. Ella, Ella, hey, hey, hey. You can chew my fingers now. It's okay, it helps somehow. Come here to me. Come here to me. Oh, when you don't know it's really so, I'll be all you need and more. Everybody. When your gums hurt, it's not forever. Go to the pharmacy together. This gel will get you on the mend. We're gonna use the treatment till the end. Now that it's hurting more than ever, know that I'll be a lovely mother. I will buy you a tube of Angela. I will buy you a tube of Angela. Ella, Ella, hey, hey, hey. You a tube of Angela. Ella, Ella, hey, hey, hey. Teething, teething. Oh, baby, you're teething, teething. Oh, baby, you're teething, teething. Oh, baby, you're teething, teething. Thanks. Thank you so much. You've been a lovely, wonderful audience. I want to say thanks to Dan. He's versions of this show like most nights for months. And also Sarah and her lovely musical talent. Thank you.